Okay, so are you happy? Yes, I'm talking to you. Are you happy right now? It is a simple question, but finding an affirmative answer can kind of be a complicated process. So today we're taking a look at how to help 2017 be your best year yet. Gillian Mandich is a happiness researcher, and she joins us to share common traits of positive people. Good morning.
Good morning.
I feel happier being around you. You've got such a permanent smile on your face.
Well, I've been studying it, so you learn a couple things along the way, right?
You learn what you preach, right? You practice what you preach. Okay, so let's get to the habits of happy people, what they have in common, starting with letting go of grudges.
Yes, I love talking about this because when we think about happiness, the first thing that comes to a lot of our minds is how do I add things? What can I do to be happier? And yes, that's an important part, but basic math has addition and subtraction. And so when we look at what we can remove from our life, that can also enhance our happiness. So taking time to let go of grudges, to let go of that pain or anger or frustration towards people or situations, that can remove that and leave room for more positive emotions like happiness.
Yeah, because they always say, like, forgiveness and all of that. I mean, it's really not about the other person because they're not affected by it. It's only bringing you down and it's only affecting you. The same thing that works with grudges.
Exactly. And think of the weight of carrying that around with you all the time. So when you let that go, you're freer, you're lighter, and you're happier.
So I was telling them earlier about these laughing clubs that exist. I'm sure you're aware of these, obviously. This is your line of research. But I was surprised that, people meet together and even if they're in a bad mood or they think they're in a bad mood, they start to fake laugh and then it just is infectious. Is this a case, do you say fake it till you make it?
Absolutely. And in terms of smiling in particular, this is a really good example. So when you smile, there's two muscles in particular. There's your orbicularis oculi. That's the muscle that goes around your eyes.
That just rolls off the tongue. Okay.
And then there is a muscle that takes the corners of your mouth and draws them up towards your ears. And your body, when it gets a signal that those muscles are firing, it doesn't know if you're smiling because you see something that's making you happy or if you're forcing a smile. It just knows that the muscles have fired.
Okay.
So on a physiological level, what that does is it starts to change the chemistry of your body to be happier. And what is really interesting is happy people tend to smile more than unhappy people. And they don't necessarily only smile when they're happy. They smile in situations where they want to be happy or they want to change their mood because they know that on a physiological level, it starts to change their chemistry to be happier.
The more you smile. What about smiling with your eyes?
Both, because then you get both muscles firing.
Oh, I love that. Okay, what about being outside? Does that impact happiness?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite tips to give to people because nature is so correlated with happiness. And it can affect not only our mood, but also our cognitive function, so how we're thinking and our creativity. When we go out into nature, you see so many different smells and patterns, and they're what are called fractal patterns. So they're very creative patterns, like if you look at a leaf or the top of a broccoli, as compared to oftentimes in cities, we see a lot of straight lines. So they're not as stimulating for our brain. And what's really exciting is, say you're inside and you just can't get out into nature all day. There's been research that's been done that shows that even looking at a picture of nature in your office, it doesn't have as high of benefits as actually being in nature. However, there are still benefits. So in terms of your memory, in terms of your work performance, it can still benefit you as well.
Okay, when you have problems in your life, what about how you view those problems? Maybe tweaking that a bit. What's your suggestion?
So happy people tend to not see problems as problems. They see them as challenges.
Is that a learned behavior, though?
Oftentimes it is. And what's happiness in a lot of cases is like a muscle. So the more you use it, the more it grows. So people that are happier have learned small habits like smiling, like getting out into nature, like removing negative things from your life, and also learning how you look at situations and choosing your words really carefully. So a happy person might see a challenge instead of a problem because that intuitively brings with it the suggestion that there is a solution and you're gonna have to work hard to figure it out, but it's solvable versus a challenge or versus a problem where someone might give up.
Do you get annoyed by unhappy people?
No, I think the other misconception oftentimes is that people think the goal is to be happy all the time.
Right, and you're not, right?
No. You need a wide range of emotions in order to experience like the full spectrum of life.
It's kind of like seasons.
That's right.
Right? That people say, up here in Toronto and wherever else in Canada, when you don't have winter, you can't appreciate summer. It's the same kind of concept.
That's right. And when you look at the skills of a happy person, what you're doing is learning to spend more time with happy emotions and less time in those negative, sad, depressing emotions, and also not having the lows being so low. You can kind of buffer them up a bit, but absolutely welcoming the full spectrum of emotions for sure.
Awesome. Gillian, I'm going to give you my biggest smile as we go to break. We really appreciate you being here. Very infectious. I like it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.